There is a moment in life when reality feels completely solid. The world appears stable, objects seem fixed, your identity feels continuous, and everything makes intuitive sense. You wake up, you act, you think, and you assume that behind all of this there is something fundamentally real, something that exists on its own. But what if that assumption is the greatest illusion of all? What if everything you rely on, your thoughts, your identity, the world itself, has no independent existence? Over 1,800 years ago, a philosopher named Nagarjuna presented an idea so radical that it doesn't just challenge reality, it dissolves it completely. Not by denying existence in a simple way, but by exposing the hidden structure beneath everything we believe to be real. His argument is not emotional, not mystical in the usual sense, but precise, logical, and almost surgical. And once you truly see it, it becomes very difficult to go back to seeing the world the same way again. We usually assume that things exist in themselves. A table is a table. A person is a person. You are you. But Nagarjuna begins by asking a simple question: what does it actually mean for something to exist? Does it exist independently, from its own side, with its own inherent nature? Or does it depend on something else? Take any object around you. A chair, for example. It seems obvious that the chair exists. You can see it, touch it, use it. But if you look closer, the chair is made of parts: wood, screws, fabric. Remove those parts, and the chair disappears. So is the chair truly something separate from its parts, or is it just a label we give to a collection of components? Now go deeper. The wood itself depends on a tree. The tree depends on sunlight, water, soil, time. Each of those depends on countless other conditions. When you follow this chain far enough, you realize something unsettling: nothing exists independently. Everything arises because of something else. This is where Nagarjuna's insight becomes devastating. If something exists only because of other things, then it has no independent essence. And if it has no independent essence, can we really say it truly exists in the way we think it does? But here's the twist: he doesn't say things don't exist at all. That would be too simple, and honestly, too easy to dismiss. Instead, he shows that things exist in a dependent way. They appear, they function, they have effects, but they are empty of any fixed, independent nature. This idea is often described as emptiness, but that word can be misleading. It doesn't mean nothing exists. It means nothing exists in the solid, permanent, self-contained way we imagine. Everything is fluid, relational, and dependent. Now apply this to yourself. You feel like a continuous I, a stable identity moving through time. But what is this you? Is it your body? Your thoughts? Your memories? Your emotions? Each of these is constantly changing. Your body replaces its cells, your thoughts come and go, your emotions rise and fall. There is no single, unchanging core you can point to and say, "This is me." Just like the chair, the self is a collection of parts and processes. It exists, but only as a convenient label, not as an independent entity. This realization can feel unsettling, even frightening. If there is no solid self, then what are you? If everything is dependent and empty, then what is real? But Nagarjuna's philosophy is not meant to create despair. In fact, it does the opposite. It removes the rigid framework that causes suffering in the first place. Think about anxiety, fear, attachment. They all depend on the belief that things are solid and must remain a certain way. You fear losing something because you believe it truly exists as a fixed entity. You cling to identity because you believe it defines you in a permanent way. But if everything is fluid, interconnected, and empty of fixed essence, then there is nothing to cling to in the way you thought. Loss becomes transformation. Change becomes natural. Even the self becomes something flexible, not something that must be defended at all costs. Nagarjuna takes this even further. He doesn't just apply emptiness to objects and the self, he applies it to concepts, ideas, and even to emptiness itself. If everything is empty, then emptiness cannot be some ultimate substance either. Otherwise, it would contradict its own logic, so even the idea of emptiness must be empty. This is where his philosophy becomes truly mind-bending. There is no final ground, no ultimate foundation you can stand on. Every concept dissolves when examined closely. Every certainty reveals itself to be dependent on something else. At first, this might sound like complete nihilism, like nothing matters and everything collapses into meaninglessness. But that's not what Nagarjuna is pointing to. Instead, he is showing that meaning doesn't come from fixed essence, it comes from relationships, interactions, and context. A word has meaning only because of other words. A role has meaning only because of other roles. A life has meaning only because of connections, experiences, and perspectives. In other words, meaning is not destroyed, it is liberated from rigidity, when you no longer believe in fixed, independent existence. You become less attached to rigid views. You become more open, more adaptable, more capable of seeing multiple perspectives at once. You stop clinging to certainty, and instead, you begin to engage with reality as something dynamic and alive. This shift is subtle but powerful. It doesn't require you to reject the world. You still see objects, people, and events. You still live your life. But underneath it all, there is a quiet understanding that none of it is as solid as it appears, and strangely, this can bring a deep sense of peace. Because if nothing has a fixed essence, then problems are not fixed either. Pain is not permanent. Identity is not locked. Situations are not absolute. Everything is open to change. What Nagarjuna did was not destroy reality in the sense of making it disappear. He destroyed the illusion that reality is something solid, fixed, and independent. He revealed a world that is interconnected, fluid, and empty of inherent nature, and once you begin to see this, even slightly, something shifts. You stop taking things so personally. You stop clinging so tightly. You start to see that what you thought was real was more like a construction, a useful one, but not an ultimate truth. This doesn't mean you withdraw from life. If anything, it allows you to engage more fully. Without rigid expectations, you can experience things more directly. Without clinging to identity, you can adapt and grow. Without believing in fixed reality, you can navigate change with less resistance. The world doesn't vanish. It becomes lighter, and perhaps that is the real impact of Nagarjuna's insight. Not the destruction of reality, but the liberation from the illusion that reality must be something it was never meant to be. In the end, what he leaves us with is not a void, but a possibility. A way of seeing where everything exists, yet nothing is trapped in a fixed form. A way of living where meaning is not imposed by permanence, but discovered through connection. And once you truly begin to understand this, even at the smallest level, reality doesn't feel destroyed, it feels completely different. Thanks for watching. Our channel is new and needs your support. In our channel you can find many videos on the history and philosophical teachings of Buddhism. Please subscribe to our channel to support the teachings of Buddha on YouTube.